Now we are going to introduce Claudio Joison. He is a farmer. He's been a farmer for over 40 years, and he was part of the music, publicity, and advertising and farming. He decided to found Infinita Panadería, a gastronomic project. The brand is known across the country. Claudio is someone who is fearless, who is not afraid of failing, because when you fail, you find yourself. This is one of his mottos. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. I'm Claudio Joison. I'm 65. Well-lived, intense 65 years. I was born in Rosario, but I spent my childhood in a small town in the north of Santa Fe, in Moisesville. My grandfather was a Jewish gaucho, and I always joined him in the farm to see all the work we in the field. I still have a farm and enjoy farming activity. When I was 10, my family decided to move to Rosario. It was a big change. During my young years, the love I had, it was love for the music. I studied different instruments. I listened to music. Everything was to be done, and we had a group of friends in the club. Some of them are famous, Fito Páez. And if you saw the series in Netflix, I was one of the guys who was there in the attic of Fito's grandmothers. This group of friends came up with the idea of founding a band, a music band. We gave a recital, a concert, and in that concert, I was a very poor guitarist. So I started reading some poems I wrote. But the most interesting I got from that concert was I liked it better to be off stage than on stage. And I felt something very powerful when I was off stage, being part of the production. From the bohemian nights of the Rosarina group, we started developing different concerts, touring different venues, until I came across a group of friends who proposed something more professional. I asked these people what it meant to be a producer, and they said, being a producer is to do 8,000 stupid things all together at the time. Okay, this is no small task. Let's see if I can do it. And so I started working as a producer in bigger venues. And at 25, I was already producing music concerts in football stadiums and huge festivals. I thought it was my true calling, and that I devoted to that for 45 years. Being producer is a multifaceted activity, and you would understand me as producer. You have to treat the artist well, you treat the audience very well, and you should know how to work out things that could come up. There's a lot of risk when you are producing a show, and you learn a lot about risk management. That is organizing risk, but mainly there's economic risk involved. So everything can happen in a single day. So learning how to manage those risks is part of the profession. At times, you lose sight of the situation and catastrophes may ensue. I don't know if you went bankrupt, but I did. On a rainy day of 1998, I had to do a Serrat concert in a football stadium. We could not do it because it was raining. And that day, I lost everything I had. I lost my house. I lost all the money. It was a very difficult day. It was a night worse than the day, very dark thoughts, and I was able to overcome this situation because my partner, with all her love, said, "We are going to get out of this. Let's start from scratch." The truth is, I woke up the next day. I started getting buckets of water off the boat that was sinking, and I started from scratch. But with the experience with me, that was the most useful thing. So, well, I started organizing other recitals and concerts and thinking of other projects. In time, I founded a company. I went well. And after I went bankrupt, I never did better, ironically enough, because as they were saying in the presentation, I do believe that after failing, you can find yourself, and this was the case. Or after going bankrupt, you find yourself. That's the literal motto. Our family loves traveling. Traveling opens up your mind, and those of us who enjoy cuisine, you can become acquainted with new flavors, new recipes. So we travel a lot, with money, without money, to different parts of the world. When our children became adult, Martina is living in Australia. Mateo lives in an Argentine province called Barcelona for 1.5 years. In short, that made us travel much more. In one of our trips to Australia, I had a revelation. I went to a bakery. What kind of a revelation? I went to a bakery and I tasted a loaf of bread and I said, "This bread is amazing. I can't believe it." Besides, the bakery shop was beautiful. Good bread, beautiful shop, and I couldn't find anywhere, if there's a bakery shop, that amazing bread that I never found a bread like the one we taste here that is white and tasteless. I thought I was going to make that bread myself. I started baking as a hobby, and I started learning. I started studying and tasting new recipes. I tried with sourdough. It was awful until one day I started understanding the dough after taking good care of it, and the sourdough bread started being very good, and I started working and testing other bread, and the love for baking started. The bread I baked during the week was half of it was for the family, the other half for my friends. So one day a friend comes up and says, "This bread is really good. Why don't you set up a bakery shop?" He's teasing me, I thought. But some days went by, another friend came up and he said, "This bread is great. Why don't you set up a bakery store?" When the second friend said to me, the entrepreneur within, the show producer said, "Well, what if we set up a bakery?" I started thinking about this idea. I started developing a project. And I thought, well, let's draft a business plan. Let me be clarified. Let me be clear. The business plan did not come to fruition, but it helped me to orient myself and to develop the project. And there is when I found it useful to be a show producer. I asked my wife, what should we do? Shall we set up a bakery store? What could be the worst thing that can happen? On the one hand, she loved the idea because it was going to be our project. There was nowhere in Argentina that was baking the bread we wanted to bake that was also filled with our own story. So what could be the worst case scenario? This is like an international show, a small international show, not a big production. We had some savings. If we do no wrong, in 2 months we will realize. And in that case, we would quit. We will say we will have, and we will move forward. But it was not going to be something that will left us bankrupt. We moved forward. I found a place. I started leading the project. We taught people who had no idea the type of bread we wanted to bake. And after 9 months of hard work during COVID that had an advantage, bakers could work. So we opened March 8th, 2021. When we opened our bakery on Sunday, the line was of 50 meters. We ran out of bread. The show had worked. The artists were us on stage, and the instruments were playing were flour, water, and salt. We were really happy. That was the beginning of Infinita Panadería, our bakery shop, up until today. And in that story, good things, bad things happen. You know what it means to run a business. But the truth is, it gave us a lot of satisfaction. Of these satisfactions is the acknowledgement, but there are a lot of difficulties entailed. In general, those difficulties came from the side of the flour. Flour are not consistent. Sometimes they had problems. We couldn't handle it very well sometimes. And like Charlie Garcia, I said, let's go from bread to flour, and to flour to wheat. And I started studying wheat, what was going on with wheat in the world, what happened in Europe, what about old wheat and the flavor of flour back in the days. And in that path, I came across a great friend, Pablo Campodónico. He has a mill, amazing mill. I recommended it. Recommend this mill. Is in La Plata. So we started walking a path together, and I said, Pablo, let me know what's there in that bag. And he said, wheat flour. What type of wheat? Where was it grown? Who harvested? What variety is it? He said, I don't know. I know that as well, because sometimes we grew weeds and they get mixed up with anybody's weeds, and it goes into a silo, and may God help you. But it was a very enriching work, the one we did with Pablo. Why? Because today, Pablo's mill has a QR code on the bag, and with that QR code, you're able to see the flour gram of the batch of that flour bag. And from being general flour, they became specific flour for specific type of use, for pizza, for bread, etc. So we got there and we started thinking of traceability, of origin, the use that is given to the type of cereals that have to be harvested, not only as a commodity, but they have to be harvested thinking that what is someone going to do with that cereal, with that grain? Sometimes people need to differentiate and start experimenting other things. So imagine that you go tonight to have dinner at a nice restaurant, and they pour a glass of wine and say, waiter, can you please tell me what's in there? Grapes, sir. Yeah, you know that that's not the case. What's the case? That today you have different grape variety, and each time they get more and more refined. The same goes for olives, with cacao, with coffee grains, with meats, with fish. It's not that the commodity is not there, but the world is going somewhere else. A place where we have a great path ahead, and we have a great potential to generate big businesses along that path.
So having arrived at this point, I would like to tell you one anecdote. A friend of mine, as I was putting together my bakery, I had to build in a metallic staircase. So I asked my friend, I need to build this metal staircase. He's a metalworks guy, so he said, I'm going to help you out, but what is your project? Tell me what it's about. And I said, well, I want to create this place that tells our history, that sells top quality products, that doesn't have any preservatives, no colorants, no chemicals. Well, I want to do that. My friend's answer was, you're crazy, you're mental. People in Rosario are not going to be willing to spend their money on those kinds of products, and you have millions of competitors. So 2 blocks away from you, there is this bakery that specializes in croissants. There is this other place that bakes or that fries French fries. So I said, and I asked him, do you buy books because of the price? And he said, of course not. So I said, why do you buy a book? I asked him. Well, because of the author, because of the subject matter, etc. So that's my book. If people like it, they will buy it. If they don't like it, they will just not buy it. So if you dare write your book, if people like it, people are going to buy it from you. Otherwise, you will just be a little happier. And that's no minor detail. Thank you.